Academy Movie Reviews. I'm Erik Calderon.
And I'm Trey Dixon, and the two of us just saw John Wick. John Wick is the new action thriller from directors David Leitch and Chad Stahelski. It's written by Derek Kolstad, and it stars Keneau Reeves, Adrian Palicki, Michael Nyqvist, Alfie Allen, Willem Dafoe, Ian McShane, a handful of other actors, and it centers on the titular character of John Wick, who is an ex-hitman who brings himself out of retirement in order to track down a group of hoodlums who broke into his house, stole his car, and killed his dog, which was a present from his dying wife, played by Michelle Moynihan.
The film was shot in New York with a budget of $14.1 million. Opening weekend made $15.7 million, which is, great, made its money back. And the film was shot on an Aries Alexa, so again, another film in digital, which is great. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of movies coming into digital.
Really great.
Yeah, I would like to say that it was okay. I mean, I watched it last night, so it's really fresh in my memory, and it was just hard to think of other films when I was thinking about this one all the time. It's, gosh, I think if I was like 19 years old or 20 years old, I probably would have really got into it. I did not get into it so much. I thought the Keneau Reeves, I could tell he was kind of acting there, and so I was kind of disappointed in the film.
I disagree.
Good.
As per Trey and Erik fashion, I completely disagree. My dad is 59 years old, and he loved it.
Wow. Okay.
And I actually think that it's one of Keneau Reeves' best performances. I genuinely believe that. I think this movie is the product of two filmmakers who truly care deeply about the action genre. Yeah. And what should be noted is that David Leitch and Chad Stahelski are stuntmen who have worked with Keneau Reeves in the past on films like The Matrix and several other films. And this is basically an action movie fan's wet dream.
Yeah. The fight scenes were nice. I mean, they were well choreographed. They were well put together. The shooting was cool. It was like The Matrix. I mean, it was really, really good. But I think it was just over the top. It was too much. I mean, it was not. I couldn't get into it.
The thing that movies like The Expendables fail at is that they take themselves too seriously. And when they don't take themselves too seriously, they're poking fun at themselves and they don't respect the movie that they're making. Yeah. This movie knows exactly what it is. It is a straight up, balls to the wall, foot to the floor action film, and it doesn't try to be anything more than that. The dialogue is blunt and like a caveman, and the filmmakers know what they want to get the audience in there for. It's the action. It's the really well done fight sequences, and I think that Keneau Reeves was perfect casting. Yeah. Another actor who really knows his limitations, and this movie was incredibly entertaining, I thought.
You thought? Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I didn't get into it that much. And let's talk about the opening scene, because that was interesting. I did find the opening scene interesting. Yeah. Where they actually started with the end.
Yes, yes.
Kind of like Lone Survivor.
Something like that.
Something like that.
A little bit, yeah.
And I think it was interesting how they introduced the character that way. I thought it was a little weak, but it was interesting. What did you think about that?
Well, I mean, I thought it kind of gives us an idea of what this character is going to go through. And if you've seen the trailer, you've seen some of the craziness that happens with this character. Yeah. But if you were walking into this movie completely cold, you see a truck run up and hit like the side of a building, and then who should stumble out but Keneau Reeves? And he's got a bullet wound and he's bleeding all over the place. And if I had not seen the trailer and just walked into the movie completely cold, seeing that, I would have been like, I'm in. Really? I want to see the rest of this. If Keneau Reeves is bloody, stumbling out of a busted up vehicle with a gun in his hand, I'm like, there's no way I'm getting out of this scene.
No, I didn't figure out what was going on until like very, very close to the end. Yeah. And then very, very close to the end, I was like, well, how does he get in that car?
There was like one left over.
Yeah. And then it was interesting. The twist was interesting. The ending was interesting. I don't want to spoil it. No, but it was an interesting twist. But I thought it was kind of lame. I mean, it was interesting, but come on, that's kind of come on. That's lame.
This movie,
for a guy like that.
The movie embraces its DNA. It has its fair share of action cliches. There are some moments where the bad guys should have just killed him, but they didn't. The end fight scene is a little cheesy, and if it were any one of us, it would have gone down differently. But it is a fun film. It's a lot of fun, and what I think is very much worth noting is that there's a lot of really great world building. You know, you get small bits from characters played by John Leguizamo and Ian McShane, and there's a bunch of different organizations, there's a bunch of different systems, and this world has a way of operating, and they do a very good job of setting that up, which is why I think that John Wick could actually have a series of successful sequels coming after it. Yeah,
I like the way they said it. I did like that, and how they had their own justice and their own rules, and they stuck to them and they broke them, and it was interesting how
what happens as a result of breaking those rules. It's for a straight up action film, there was actually a lot of neat, thoughtful elements. Which is kind of like I compare this movie to Dredd, which I know you didn't care for that movie either.
No, I like Dredd.
Dredd, okay, because that movie is a really blunt example of like action to the fullest. But when you stop and like there are those quieter moments where the glitz is sort of fading, you kind of get a chance to think, like, wow, that's actually happening because of this, and you know it has its thought. It has a brain sort of in there, but that's not what you come for.
The dinner for 12 was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I started catching on to that after the second time they did that.
No, I was, it is full throttle action.
Yeah.
But for people who want a little more than just that, it is there. It's not very much there, and it shouldn't be, because this movie knows exactly what it is. It's trying to please action fans and
What did you think about the casting? I mean,
casting was perfect.
Yeah, right.
Casting was absolutely perfect.
I think the mobsters were casted really great.
Michael Nyqvist, who I don't know if anybody knows him, he was the original Michael Blomkvist in the original Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
Yes.
Really great Danish actor.
Yeah. That's the first one, right? The first Dragon.
Yeah,
I didn't like that one at all. Yeah.
Yeah. Adrienne Palicki is finally in a good movie. She was she first came to proliferation in Saturday Night.
She's the assassin, right?
Yeah. Saturday Night Lights.
Yeah,
No, Friday Night Lights, or that football show. She was on that,
she did a
and she
good
hasn't
job.
been in a good movie at all until this movie.
Yeah.
I always liked John Leguizamo. I'm always pleased to see him, and he has a cool role in this movie. It's a small role, but he has a cool role. And Ian McShane is cool as always. This movie just kind of bleeds cool from every orifice.
And you know, it's interesting how a lot of films now are using Russian mobsters. It's like the Russian mafia.
Do you think
it's not Italian mafia anymore.
Do you think
it's Russian mafia.
Do you think that the Russians sit at home and wonder, why are we always bad guy? I don't know why we always bad guy.
Well, it used to be the Italians.
Yeah,
now it's shifted over the Russians.
And then it was the Japanese, and now it's the Russians, and I think that's because of Putin.
The Equalizer is also Russian mafia.
Yeah, well, I think it has something to do with Putin, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Who knows?
So what did you think about cinematography? I mean,
cinematography, this movie is beautiful.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting it from a couple of directorial debut filmmakers, but this movie looks absolutely great. Particularly all the club sequences, a lot of really great blue and red lighting. They use strobes very well. I compare this movie to the Raid films. Are you familiar?
Yeah. I like the Raid.
They're not quite as good as those, but the camera is handled in a way where you can tell that these actors are actually doing all these really intense sequences. They actually went through all this choreography. It's not that quick shot, close shot BS that we have in normal Hollywood movies. You know, they actually are there fighting. And you can see it perfectly, and it's filmed in a way.
You know, and maybe that's why I didn't like the fight sequences so much, because, you know, as a martial artist, I've been doing martial arts for 37 years.
Yeah.
I did see the weaknesses in those movements, which very few people can see.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, Joe Blow is not going to notice it.
Yeah.
They're just going to, their eyes are going to glaze over, and they're like, this is
It was
the best
pretty
thing
good.
that's ever happened.
It was pretty good, and I could name all the techniques they did.
Yeah.
And I could, you know, and they were well choreographed and well rehearsed, but I did see kind of they tried too hard to make it look really good.
The devil is in the details, as is with most films.
Yeah.
But and I think that being a martial artist, it's something that you would pick up on particularly. But I think that anybody who has a particular affinity towards action films, they're gonna go in and they won't be disappointed.
Yeah.
It's a completely entertaining.
So what would you recommend for our viewers out there?
For our viewers, I'm gonna go ahead and rate it with a. Because it does have its stupidity, you know. It has some stupid moments, but it's an action film that knows what it is. I'm gonna go really high for a film of its type. I'm gonna give it a 7.5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that it was a really good, entertaining film, and I would actually go back and see it again.
Yeah.
You know, it is the perfect cleansing movie. If you just want to forget your troubles, go watch John Wick. You'll have a great time.
Yeah, I think it was well made. I mean, I wouldn't recommend the movie theater. Just because, I mean, you could get this on a DVD for $1.60 at Redbox, you know.
Yeah.
But I would say I'd give it a 5 or 6, 5.5 or something like that. I mean, I'm just phasing out of those action movies,
Yeah.
and I'm going more into films that have a really good story.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what's bringing me down on this film.
If you want a film that has a good story with really well-developed characters, I mean, John Wick is not the movie you
Yeah.
want to go see.
Yeah.
You know, you wouldn't go to Chuck E. Cheese if you were going to fire a gun.
Yeah.
That didn't come out right.
We love films. If you love films, please visit the HCC Filmmaking Program Northwest Campus. Call Erik Nitzberg, right there, number listed below. Sign up for a class. We're brought to you by HCC TV and the HCC Filmmaking Program.
If you like this video and you want to see more, check us out on YouTube and subscribe to our channel. Thank you very much for watching and have a good day.